Hey there, Pulsers.
Welcome to the Property Pulse, episode 4.
Today we're going to be discussing the existing home sales report from NAR, as well as our mortgage applications on the rise.
Question mark. Our home buyers adjusting plans, and also we're going to go over some local events.
This is your Property Pulse. I'm Brad Vondrak.
And I'm Nicole Vondrak.
Let's hop into it. All right, so the existing home sales report, this is coming from the National Association of Realtors report from December 2023. Basic sales data shows that home sales decreased by 1% in December to a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 3.78 million, which is a far cry because that's down 6.2% from the previous year. And even in 2022, I want to say it's going to be probably closer to 10% because we were about almost 6 million sales in 2022. The median home price rose actually by 4.4% in December of 2022 to 382,600, and this marks the sixth consecutive month of year-over-year price increases. And inventory of unsold existing homes actually decreased by 11.5%, which if you follow me on my Monday market report, you'll know that that's true, and that's to be the case, at least in our area, as we get into the winter months, as I've always discussed.
And these are from the National Association of Realtors, so it's going to be a national numbers that you're talking about, whereas your local Monday Market Minute is more of a local market.
Yeah, the Monday Market Minute is all data pulled from our local MLS here in Tuolumne County. So that being said, moving through this thing, the NAR's chief economist Lawrence Yoon expects the latest months of sales to actually be at the bottom of this market. So with that being said, that's going to essentially mean that we're going to see more inventory come on the market, which is inevitable. As you hit a bottom, you're going to come up out of it. But it also means that we still have a lack of inventory. So there are going to be more homes coming on the market, which is also going to lead to why we're going to see another annual increase in prices up to 5% in some areas. And that's actually going to be across the board. The only major outlet that's saying a decrease in annual equity is actually Realtor.com, but they actually haven't been super accurate on their predictions. Realtor confidence, the Realtor's Confidence Index. Properties typically remain on the market for 29 days in December, up from 25 days in November. Not hard to imagine, given there's pretty much 2 weeks at the end of the year when you have Christmas, Hanukkah, all the holidays, all the things, all the New Year's, everything shuts down. There's like 4 days pretty much between 2 weeks to get something closed. So to see stuff sit on the market longer in December is not a surprise. First-time home buyers actually accounted for 29% of the sales in December, and that's down from 31% in November of 2023. Interest rates skyrocketing a little bit from October and starting to wean down a little bit in December is probably the root cause of that. And all cash sales actually accounted for almost 29% of transactions in December. Now, keep in mind, that's not locally, that's nationally. 29% of transactions were cash purchases, which once again makes sense due to the rates where they were sitting. So moving into our mortgage applications, speaking of interest rates, this actually report comes from Calculated Risk and CNBC, and from the banker, and they're using data from the Mortgage Bankers Association weekly survey. Overall increases in mortgage applications rose by 3.7% from the previous week, as reported by the MBA, and that survey ended in January 19th, 2024. The Market Composite Index measures mortgage loan application volume by an increase of 3.7% on a seasonally annually adjusted basis from the previous week. The Holiday Adjusted Refinance Index also saw a decline, dropping 7% from the previous week, making an 8% decrease compared to the same week 1 year ago. These unadjusted bias in index decreased by 4% compared to the previous week, and unadjusted refinance index decreased by 16% over the previous week, and it was 8% lower than 1 week ago, or 1 week from a year ago. So our mortgage rates actually increased slightly this past week as well. And despite the increase, there was actually a decline in refinance applications, which is no shocker as rates went up. Most people are not going to refinance into a higher rate. And homeowners have reported that there's little incentive to refinance at this point, which is kind of a no-brainer, considering there's about 40% of the loans, or more than 40% of the loans, I can't remember the exact number, are actually sitting in that unicorn rate of 3 to 4%. So to refinance into a 6 or a 7 does not make much sense for them, obviously. Conventional and FHA purchase applications were actually identified as the main drivers behind the actual increase in these purchase activities. So that's actually pretty positive news going into, we're essentially in 2 months or a month and a half into winter, and before the spring market hits, seeing conventional and FHA purchase applications come in as a high indicator of why these percentage increase is actually a huge marker to what we're expecting to see in this spring season. We are expecting to see massive buyers come back into the market, kind of similar to 2021. And hopefully, if you're a buyer out there, you've got your ducks lined up ready to go, because if we are in a market where you're going to have to compete against multiple offers, you're going to need to be ready and know when you're ready to pull the trigger on that purchase.
Well, and just like we talked about last week for the Cal FHA.
Oh, the Dream for All program.
Dream for All program. So if you are interested in any more info from that, go back to last week's episode, and we talked about that. Kind of going with that, a recent survey just came out from RE/MAX that shows that nearly 80% of prospective home buyers for this year are adjusting their plans due to the current economic environment. So one thing that they saw in this report is some of the alternative plans to home ownership that people are looking at are fixer-uppers. That's always a popular option. Tiny homes or prefabricated homes. Those you really have to look at the cost of the land and the cost for hookups and everything, plus the cost of the actual home. Sometimes,
don't forget zoning's a big important. Tiny homes aren't in a lot of zoning plans for a lot of counties, so it can be problematic on trying to find a piece of land that you could put a tiny home on.
Yeah, and another alternative would be down payment of less than 20%. So that's something to talk to your loan officer about. Multifamily homes, those are also becoming more popular, as well as purchasing with friends or family, or purchasing an all cash offer if you're in a position to be able to do that. Another couple ways is borrowing money from friends or family. As part of their survey, they said 17% would borrow money. And the last one that they kind of saw was super commuting. 13% were willing to be a super commuter or live 2 or more hours from their work.
So for you that are in the Bay Area, we may be a hotspot for you for a super commuting, depending on your internet availability. So
yeah, definitely. It might be worth it. So those are some things that came with the survey. So this weekend, there's it's going to be beautiful skies, I think.
Yeah, cloudy or clear, so baby bluebird conditions?
Maybe. So, of course, Dodge Ridge or going up the hill. Columbia College men's basketball is playing on Saturday at 3 o'clock. The 49ers play in the NFC Championship game on Sunday. Kickoff is at
3 p.m.
or 3:30. One of it.
3:30. I call it 3 p.m. Makes it easier to remember.
Oh, he just wants to start at 3 p.m. so that he can have, be ready to go for 3:30.
Yep.
Okay. Another 2 things that I saw is there is a musical that's being performed in San Andreas at the historic Metropolitan Theater called Oh, You Beautiful Doll. And there's also in Twain Harte, there's a beginning of a 2-part training. Will Harris with PG&E Public Safety Specialist will educate on what to do responding to an electrical emergency hazard associated with natural gas and what types of equipment PG&E has.
We don't have natural gas here, so I'm curious to know more about that one, because we predominantly have propane tanks and propane lines here. So PG&E deals with electricity specifically here. So that might be a typo, but nonetheless, it might be a good class to attend, considering we're going into usually February becomes our heavy storm weather. So,
yeah,
and that's down power lines, trees on power lines, etc. So it might be a good class to attend if you're in the area.
And that's at Twain Harte Community Center at 9 a.m. on Saturday. We just got our events.
Where could they find that information?
My Motherlode.
Okay.
Has information on that. Anyway, so that's all I have for this weekend. Basically, go out and play in the beautiful weather.
Yeah. Enjoy it while we have a break in the storms. That's all for this week's episode of the Property Pulse.
Don't forget to hit subscribe for your weekly dose on real estate trends and local happenings.
Also hit that bell, share, or comment if you've got any topics you want us to share with you.
Exactly. Stay tuned, stay informed, and let's make your real estate dreams become a reality.
Adios.
Am I starting? I could start if you would.
Happy Friday, Pulsers.
Welcome to the Property Pulse, episode 4.
Okay, we're not doing that. Let's try this again.
Let us know.
We want to splice this last piece in?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this again. Because, I mean, it's just super easy. Right?
Super easy. Don't forget to read.
Don't forget to read what you have in front of you. Yes.
Do you have a topic that
No.